Okay, so this run shows off the power of the hammershark. If you have a level 3, then at the start of your turn, you get 3 extra gold. So that is pretty helpful. Unfortunately, it's a tier 6, which means that it comes really late in the game, and by the time that actually comes around, usually your team's looking pretty full by then. If you have a free slot, it can be pretty helpful, but it's also just like a pretty rare unit to actually take, I feel like. It's certainly not good stats, like its ability compared to everything else late game is not super helpful in battle. But you know, 3 extra gold, not too shabby. It's like a level 3 swan. But that was the plan for this arena run: is to get a level 3 swan and then go for hammershark and just stack up the gold. It has kind of a cumulative effect. It kind of snowballs. Where once you get one hammershark, then you can start rolling a lot for 2 hammersharks and then 3 hammersharks. And yeah, you just get to keep going like that. So the start of this run got duck level 2, ant level 2, got early blobfish, early giraffe. So pretty good tier 3s. Um, this is a custom pack, so it's specifically actually a very strange custom pack where I don't actually have buy sell units because I just get tired of going buy sell sometimes. So I created a pack that specifically just does not have it and instead goes for all the other kinds of scaling in the game, like clownfish, jellyfish, penguin, monkey, seal, cat. You know, all of those good fun options that like keep the game fun and pure. I don't know. But yeah, so the swan, just going for big swan since I know that's gonna stick around. Swan, okay, I've kind of gone back and forth on where swan is on this tier list. For a while, when it was like a 3-4 base stat, it was like an S tier unit. It was just so good because it was like good stats, so and it had like good long term value. Just a overall great unit. But then they nerfed it twice, and now it's all the way down to a 1-3. So when you take a swan, you lose a little bit of tempo. Your team's going to be a little bit worse, and you might have to sacrifice some lives. But is it worth the long term extra gold? It's debatable. I think a lot of times level 1 swan isn't a huge advantage, but level 2 swan, if you manage to get it, is usually pretty helpful. Got double snail here. Actually, got the capybara buff and the clownfish buff, and then the snail buff. So that is how this draft suddenly became a 10-13. And I have also a 9-11 swan and a 9-10 capybara. So that turn was pretty massive. Got so many stats that turn. And I don't think I'll lose this round. Don't have any equipment, so I guess garlic would have been nice here. But I'm pretty sure we just have enough health to get rid of this horse team. There was a lot of arena runs that I was trying to do personally that did not work out. One of those actually being Rhino. I know Rhino's a really fun unit, but it's so bad, and for some reason I can never run into any summon teams when I'm going Rhino. And even when I do, it doesn't even work. It doesn't even kill it. I greed and I go for pineapple and then like tiger rhino, and I really hope to just like kill someone's team entirely. But you know what? It never happens. It happened like once, but it was early on, and it wasn't really that satisfying. And I feel like the team I would have beat anyway, even without Rhino. So it's just like, I don't know. They try to buff it by making it deal double damage to tier ones. The summons are not tier ones most of the time anyway. And the way that it works is it goes after the things already have summoned. So like they could switch it back. I don't know why I'm talking about Rhino in the middle of this run, but yeah, they could switch it back so it hits the actual summons instead of hitting the things behind them. Because usually those things have like turkey buff and stuff like that, so they don't actually die to like 4 attack or 6 or 8 or 12 or whatever it is. Um, and it's pretty disappointing. Okay, so cats, what do I do with the actual gold? So I think a lot of times the reason to take Swan is because if you want to go food build, which is honestly some of the fastest scaling in the game, like if you are practicing, or I mean not practicing, if you're just playing the game and you're doing like 1v1s or something, I feel like you kind of end up seeing that food scaling actually outscales the auto scaling, which I think makes sense nowadays. Because like Penguin Monkey used to be so much better, and they just were like free wins because it's free scaling. It's just like end of turn, you automatically get the stats, so you can spend all your other gold leveling stuff up or looking for the units that you want. But food actually invests, you have to invest your gold into buying the food, which means you're not going to be spending as much gold rolling or getting to level stuff up and stuff like that. But yeah, it does scale faster than Monkey Penguin now, I think. Especially with like the buff to Squirrel. Squirrel has made, I think, a world of difference in the food builds because suddenly you get like level 2 Squirrel and a Seal, and your scaling is just incredible. Um, this is kind of a weird situation. So I got early Alpaca, and then I was like, wait a second. I could get level 2 cow. Do I want to actually do that? Apparently the answer is yes. And then I decided to sell and take Octo. Okay, this was just a mistake. I don't know why I did this. I guess like, okay, if I was gonna milk something, I should have spent the good milk on the Swan and then the bad one on the Seal, because the Swan has melon armor, so I think I did that wrong. Also, I think this Octo is just temporary. I pretty much have to sell everything in order to fit the Hammer Shark in, which is where like just having good stats is sometimes not enough in these super late game. Another cow, so kind of high rolled cows. Also, the difference between like, and this alpaca means instant level 2 seal, so love to see that. Alpaca coming in clutch. But yeah, the difference between high rolling cows and just not getting any cows is massive in food builds when you have like seal, because it's just so many stats. You're spending 2 gold and you're pretty much getting to buy 6 gold worth of foods or even more. So it's crazy. There's the hammer shark. So yeah, it gives 3 extra gold for us next turn, which is pretty nice. To be honest, I kind of forgot that the alpaca buffs ran out, so I was a little sad about that. I was expecting level 1.5 shark. Double alpaca was a consideration, but I would have to sell cat, which might suck. Ran into a elephant blowfish team, which is pretty strong. The good news is that I was able to just trade. Like they usually have a problem scaling the elephant so that it actually is bigger than like your biggest unit, but luckily it missed melon. Taco gave +6 attack to 3 things. Very weird. Like I think it's especially noticeable when the stats are uneven when you have like level 2 cats, because I mean, sushi balances out the stats, which you generally just want balanced stats. It's just better for your units, because like if you have, I mean, if you just think about like a 150 versus like a 1111 or like, well, I don't you like a 1010, I mean, just crushes. Like okay, I can't even do math. I guess you need 7. You need an 8-8. Okay, yeah, there we go. Trying to do math on the fly is a mistake. But yeah, if you have an 8-8, it would be a 150. So even though a 150 has much more stats, that's 51 stats versus an 8-8 as a 16 stats. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Maybe you already know it, but like in case you don't, I guess. And meanwhile, got another hammer shark. It's already level 1.5 as well. So I'm gaining 3 gold from the swan, and then 3 from the hammer shark, and then 3 from the other hammer shark. I am on lethal, so all this is pretty sketchy to do, because, like, I don't know, just doing anything on lethal feels scary. At this point, I don't even know if apple on seal is better than apple on something else. It is a free pizza, but I already have maxed out its HP. Luckily, it has cheese. I think cheese and melon usually just overall pretty solid to have late game, since I don't think there's actually steak in this pack for some reason. Um, yeah, so got another hammer shark frozen and 2 level 2s, so 6 gold each from that. That is 12 plus 3 is 15 gold. Pretty cool. Ran into a sniper team. Luckily, that means they have pretty low stats and able to win that round. And I've got 2 more rounds to work with. But here's the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to have to start selling the things that I actually want to try to fit more hammer sharks in here. And that could be a bit problematic. But you look at the gold amount. It's just so cool to see. Like 22 or whatever it was, 24. Yeah, just love to see it. And then decide, okay, maybe I'll just take level 3 hammer shark. And I decided to take cheese over melon. Wow, okay, that's surprising. I guess my logic was like it could get one shot through melon, but honestly, I think that's wrong. I think I should have just taken melon over cheese. And more tacos. Again, I don't know why there's taco instead of sushi. That's just, I wasn't really thinking, I guess, because sushi would have been much nicer. Try to get to that 31 health breakpoint with melon so it survives a 50-50. And then this team looks like a summon team, but luckily, again, pretty small stats. And now it is turn 16. Got 28 gold at the start of this round. Unfortunately, whatever I do here, unless I happen to get a draw, I will not be able to see however much gold I get next turn. But that's not going to stop me from trying to get a draw and seeing if it works out. And I have so much gold to just roll here. I decided to take soft ice. It guarantees hits the seal plus 5 stats. So, in theory, it is more stats than a pair, which is pretty interesting. I guess I haven't really thought about that. Oh, another run I was trying to do 5 rabbits, soft ice. I actually did manage to get it, but then the recording died. And then the second time I did it, I just decided, you know what? This isn't as interesting as I thought it'd be. It's all like complete nonsense, and then just for one round of a payoff. And also, I was like, wait a second, the game's muted. And then look at this team that I run into. White Tiger, 50-50 Rooster. Just not even close. That's a lobby team. Tiger, Leopard, and level 3 Rooster. That's something you see win versus lobbies. Just not able to take it on in arena. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See ya.